G'day guys, welcome to another episode of Wrack City Bitch. I am Trent Dennison, also known as Big Denno, and today I'm going to talk about the one, the only, the Harbinger of Menoth. And if you haven't played Harbinger, you are in for a real treat when you finally do. But if you have, you would know that she is widely considered the best caster in Menoth. There's definitely a few other casters that could raise their hand for that title. Krios 1 is a monster, Severius 1, although he's dropped a little bit of stock with killbox scenarios recently. And there's a few others that maybe would put their hands up, but I think everyone would probably agree that Harbinger is one of the best. So she is the only focus 10 caster in the game, and where focus is usually a finite supply, she has bounds and bounds of it, and that allows you to be very flexible in your list design. You could run her as a jack caster, and in fact she has a great spell to benefit that, which is Crusader's Call. It allows your jacks to get +2 threat range, which is incredible. She's got Purification. Anyway, we'll go back to that. Let's talk about her stats. Focus 10. If you wanted to, you could camp 10 focus and run, and you would be armor 24. And armor 24 is very solid. Very solid. Peaches, don't do that. Go. Armor 24, pretty solid. She's only Def 14. That is particularly bad on a large base warcaster. And she is, I guess, fairly low health at 17. And when you account for the fact that she has a rule called Martyrdom, she's probably going to be a lot lower than that too. So she's fragile. She's really fragile. She has a couple of rules that are quite handy to have, which is Divinity, which means you're never knocked down. So Defense 14 is not great, but I tell you what, it's a shitload better than Defense 5 or 7. And always having Defense 14 is rock solid. Get her behind a wall, get her on a hill. That Defense 14 is looking a fair bit better then. Or living models suffer -2 to attack rolls. That makes a defense effectively 16 against a lot of models, and that's pretty peach. Don't do that. Look at Peaches today, just going on a rampage. Peach. Or -2 to attack rolls. That makes her effectively defense 16, which all of a sudden is the exact spot that you want to be as a baseline. So get her over a wall, once again, defense 18 to hit from living enemy models, pretty massive. Means she's probably fairly tough to assassinate for most Horde's armies, if you position her correctly, of course. And if you can remove the Warjacks, it probably makes anyone bar Crix fairly hard up assassinating her. And then Martyrdom, which is pretty mad, always being able to ensure that specific models remain in the game if you need them to is a strong ability. I think it's probably borderline broken, to be honest, with some of the great models like a Reclaimer, for example, is a model that you probably wouldn't immediately think is awesome, but keeping him alive with his soul so he can load up focus next turn to give you even more is massive. Like the Errant ball is considered to be her best. The most common one, when you put Rupert, you tough them and give them +1 defense, and then you martyr them, and then they self-sack, and it's like a 15 layer thing to actually just kill one dude, and it's frustrating, but yeah. So you would think that a 10 focus caster would have a lot of spells, and Harby's actually only got 5, which is really unusual. They're 5 good spells, but probably not great spells. I mean, Purification, I guess. Purification's awesome. Fucking great spell. Game-changing spell, actually. immediately at the list selection stage, you get to determine what caster you're going to play against in a sense. So Purification is great. Let's look at our other spells. Guided Hand. Additional die on each model's first melee attack rolls. So let's look at what you. Avengers probably benefit from that, although they don't really need the hit buff, given that they're going to be Mat 9 on the charge. Friendly model / unit. It's a bit of a weird spell, Guided Hand, because you don't really need it for most of your models to hit. And it's only your first attack, so it's a bit wasteful on a Jack. Like, I don't know. You probably find a use for it on the Errants with against something like Satixis that they're only Mat 6 or Errants Mat 7. I don't even know. We'll find out soon when I talk about Errants. Yeah, I mean it's better than not having it, but yeah, I could see how that spell might not get cast all that often, to be honest. Fear of God, on the other hand, is a spell that will get cast, I think, every turn, and should be cast every turn on a different unit. Cannot give orders, receive orders, or make special attacks. So you shut out of the game any like Grey Lord Outriders can't make their attacks. You can't make charges, which shuts out cavalry models from being super effective. Like, that spell. And one thing that you probably don't immediately realise about Harby, but after playing her a few times you might, is that she never needs to boost these spells. She is focus 10. She will hit pretty much anything. And that's really useful. That's fucking cool, because you've always got focus to feed your jacks. So Crusader's Call I've spoken about, +2 movement for not just jacks but every single model in a control area, which I think is probably the Moneyball spell. To me, it's interesting because I think you probably want to play her fairly aggressively, but obviously she doesn't really want to be aggressive. Her army wants to be it just to me looks like a very aggressive style of army, like units like Bastions, Vengers, models that you're going to get real value out of your martyrdom rolls, but also that hit really hard but sort of have threat range issues, like. And Guided Hand on Bastions and make those power 14 damage rolls really, Weapon Master attacks really stick, is pretty handy. And with Crusader's Call, you get them up to a threat range that's pretty respectable. So, yeah. And Cataclysm, it is a cost 4 spell, which is pretty huge. And in most games that I've lost to Harby, it has been Cataclysm that has got me, not anything else, because she's charged forward. And then Cataclysm to my caster twice and boosted damage twice and done some damage. So yeah, it automatically hits, and it's not anything you can plan for. You've just got to basically remember that she's got it and try and stay outside of her charge range. So I mean, she can also Guided Hand herself and get forward 10 inches. So that's fucking suckful. And then cast Cataclysm. Anyway, feat. Ballistic. One of the best feats in the game because it's a control feat, obviously. You basically, I mean, people won't move into it with infantry unless they're fuckwits, in which case you're probably going to win anyway. But it's a time walk. It's a free turn. It's a free turn for you to set up positioning, to get into the right spot and to make it happen. Now, one thing about feats like this, I've known people that popped at turn 1, and I believe, it is my belief, that the longer you hold a feat like this, the more devastating the effect is. So if you can let them come forward into you, and they have to, because if they don't, they're going to get, they're going to get jammed out of scenario. And then have an alpha strike and then feat, so you can have a double alpha strike. That is immense. Whereas if you only get one alpha strike out of it, then it's not, it's still great, but I think you can get more. So I'm going to be looking to aim to feat probably turn 3 with Harby, I think. That'd be top of 3 or bottom of 2. I'm not sure. Yeah, it'll be interesting. She's obviously a great caster. There's absolutely no doubt about that. I just get worried that you get into a situation where you have to spend a lot of resources protecting her, and that to me is not ideal. I'd much rather have 3 Vengers, and I think Gravis makes the Vengers immune to knockdown off the top of my head. Just learning with Deno, it's great stuff. Brother's Keeper, friendly exemplar models cannot be knocked down or made stationary. Cool. Take Gravis, take 3 Vengers, and you cannot see Harby ever. Which means you cannot shoot her, unless you've got awareness, you cannot charge her, unless I get the placement wrong. And you can't kill those Vengers because I have Martyrdom. Pew, 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 pew. And then those Vengers charge 14 inches, which is 15 inches, probably more. What is it? 8, 11, 13, 15. Seems good. So something like that is probably where I'm going to head with her and play pretty aggressive. But you know, a lot of people talk about Reckoners with her, and she's got the focus to feed a gun line. You've got so many options with her, that's the thing, and I think you really can't build a bad list for her, but there's definitely options for me to play the style that I like to play, which is really putting some pressure down, and I'm pretty keen to try it out. Looking at her avatar, by the way, is just like a fucking moneyball choice with her. Give her more focus. Like she doesn't have enough at the moment. Let's give her an extra 3 to 4. Good stuff. Just looking at her tier list. Choir, Zealots, Flame Guard, Paladin, Vassal Mechanics. Yeah, okay. I'm not a fan. Seems a bit restrictive. Yeah, I like a few different options with Harby. I think you've got plenty of options there. So I'm going to play that out and give that a crack and try a few different lists. But I think you'd be crazy if you don't have her in your 3 list pairing. She's just that good. But we'll see what happens. I've got to get some table time with her. I've played a lot against her, so you know I don't think I need as much table time understanding how she plays, in so much as I need to work out the type of list that I want to use with her. So let's talk about Filthy Rotten Reckoners, the magnificent Jack that I, as every other faction, hate, but as a Menoth player, I am in love with. 8 points is fucking insane. Ridiculous. Defense 10-19 is nothing spectacular, but hey, Ashen Veil, why not? Let's always give him concealment, and let's give him -2 against living models. Great stuff. Let's enliven the shit out of him so he can walk away after people do actually hit him. Let's give him crit fire on his gun that hey is power 15 for no reason. Why not assault? Let's give assault as well, and while you're at it, you can have -2 def to whatever target you hit. By the way, you've got a power 19 reach weapon, and sure, let's make him not 8 points. Let's not make him 10 points like he should be. Let's make him 8. Fucking hell. Reckoners, man. Unreal. Look, there's a lot of people that prescribe to the belief that a Reckoner should be in every list. It's a hard logic to argue. Giving your guys effective +2 mat against a single target with defense with flare is ridiculous. I mean, he's got a base threat range of 10 inches, which is very good for a heavy. It's not at the top end of the scale like 11-12s, but it's pretty good. And when you add Crusader's Claw with Harby into that, it suddenly becomes threat range 12 inches, which is where you get to the money ball. I like the Reckoner for his versatility. He's a bit focus hungry, which is not really a deal in Menoth because they've got plenty of it to go around. He's the best Jack in the faction, non-character wise. I have not much to say about him because it's all been said before. I'm going to try and avoid him for my first few lists, because when you play something like that and then you play a shitter version, it's hard to go back. And yeah, I think that playing some of the lesser used choices and maybe finding something that maybe is a bit uncommon might be more valuable than just playing what everyone else plays. So, but yeah, look, Reckoners are fucking great. So, oh, I forgot to talk about Chain Attack's thoughts on Harbinger. Let's have a look. Chain Attack, Jay, Trevor, my mate Jay, and our mate Trevs. And Scott. That Scott guy's a loose cannon, man. Fuck, I had a good day with him after Lock and Load. He was a mad dog. Harbinger, feet 6. I think you guys are smoking a bit of crack there. Like it's time walk. It's board control feet. In steamroll, that's fucking crazy. It's got to be at least a 7. Board control 6. Yeah. So as I talked about in the last episode, you get board control out of threat range in some ways, and like her feet also generates board control. I think she'd probably be one of the most board control casters in the game, maybe. I'd probably say 8, really. I don't think you could go lower than that. Synergy 10. And what's interesting is I'd probably drop her synergy down because I don't, like, I mean, she's got good spells with Crusader's Call, but does she do anything else? Like that extra attack roll, whatever that spell's called, that's not that impressive, really. I don't know. She just doesn't seem to be a very synergistic caster to me. She seems to feed a lot of, she seems to do some good things for her army, but not in a way that I would classify synergy, because I don't necessarily think feeding focus to Jax or martyrdom. Well, martyrdom's probably a synergy. I'd probably drop that down to an 8, I think. Don't think I'd go any higher than an 8. Aggression 4, yeah. Yep, that's probably on the money. And survivability is 5. Yeah, survivability, that's the weak point of her, obviously. She's not got a lot of defensive tech built in, aside from ore, and being a large base and armor 14 is ugly. You do not want to see Mage Hunter Strike Force against her. So grade A+, yeah, don't disagree with that. It's pretty straight up and down. She's an A+ caster. So yeah, I like where your head's at, Chain Attack. You guys are good eggs. Good eggs in my book. So the final unit today I'm going to talk about is the Exemplar Errants. Again, another one of those choices that everyone's played against. Like, Errants used to be the staple infantry unit for the faction. You look at their stats and they're just a bit average, really. Like 12-16. That's baseline. That's grunt stats. Can be shot dead by just about anything, really. They do have Blessed Magical Crossbows, which is a really handy kit to have in the tool bag, especially when they have the ability to quick work with their UA. I'm actually just going to duck over and have a look at their UA because, yeah, quick work, that's money. And Tactics Pathfinder, cool. Yeah, the UA makes this unit pretty ubiquitous. They've just got a lot of versatility. Pathfinder for Menoth is good. Shooting for Menoth and Rat 6 is good. Mat 7's good. Power 9 Weapon Masters is good. Cannot be targeted by spells is good. Like, they're just all around pretty good. They go to great when you put defensive buffs on them, when you get Defender's Ward, when you put Rupert in the same list. Like defense 15, armor 18 is all of a sudden not good. It's fucking incredible. And then the fact that every time you kill one of them, it can be picked up by someone else and deny things like corpse token collection, blood tokens. Yeah, it's that's fucking punching the nuts sometimes, eh? But there is ways around it sometimes. Silence of Death in particular. There's also Entropic Force from the Groves and the Blood Hag. It's not an exhaustive list, but there is ways around it sometimes. So yeah, I think this is a unit that at 10 points is going to do a lot of. This would be a great unit to start the faction with. You'd get a lot of value out of them in a lot of lists, but because they're so ubiquitous, because they're so seen in basically every list, I don't think I'll start with them. As I've said before, it's a it's a pretty standard combination. Errants, Defender's Ward, Rupert. I'm not breaking any new ground there, and I think that if you do play them well, they're a really tough nut to crack. So with Harbinger, yeah, self-sack, martyrdom, tough. That's just fucking, yeah, headaches galore. So, alrighty. Not a long episode today because I was talking about some of the most commonly used models and units in the faction, but yeah, it's it's getting pretty close now to the stage where I'm going to be starting to play, and I'm excited. I'm excited to try this out. I've got some plans for later on in the year. We've got an end of year event called the Super Series Final, and after I get back from the WTC, the Super Series Final is about 2.5 months after that. So I've got 2.5 months to paint and build 3 lists if I want to play them at Super Series Final, which is a possibility. I won't say it's a great possibility because I won't have a lot of table time with them, and it's usually a bad idea to play a brand new faction at the most competitive tournament in Australia. But hey, I'm nothing if not a loose nutcase. So yeah, I don't really have any inkling as to what 3 lists I will play, or even if I will follow through with that, because I might not have it's a fully painted tournament, so I need to paint the whole faction, and that may not be a possibility. But we'll see what happens. It's definitely something I'd like to try and achieve, and I feel like it puts you in good stead when you're learning a faction at a tournament, because I've always felt that you learn more from a loss than you do a win, and I've felt that you learn more from a tournament game than you do a practice game, because there's pressure, there's time, there's things that you forget, and when you forget something in a tournament, fuck, it's drilled into your brain. You never forget that shit again. So I'm keen, but we'll see what happens. So anyway, I'm off. Gonna go cook some dinner, and I'll see you guys next time on Wrack City, bitch.